Hello, today I have a 2017 MacBook Air 13-inch that has had cooking oil spilled into the keyboard. The computer still works because cooking oil is non-conductive, so it hasn't shorted anything in the motherboard, and luckily none of it got into the cooling fan. But many of the keys on the keyboard have stopped working, and I suspect will not be repairable. If that cooking oil got into the keyboard, you really can't disassemble one of these keyboards. So the customer has opted for replacing the top case and keyboard. So I've ordered a new top case with keyboard. It's arrived and it looks good. So it's essentially replacing everything, putting a whole new computer around this top case. So removing all the parts from here, including the display, the system board, the battery, the trackpad, speakers, everything, and grafting them into this after cleaning them. So I need to be able to clean the cooking oil off of the parts as they come out, well, before they go into the new one. So that's what we'll do. There's even oil on the screw. I already have oil on my fingers now from that first screw. This is not going to be fun. I had this open the other day and thoroughly cleaned this bottom case, and it looks like it's stayed pretty clean. Disconnect the battery, disconnect the I/O board cable. I don't want to pry against the M2 drive, so I'm just going to get this under here and lift up. This connector is deep. That's coated in oil. Lift up the zero insertion force clip from the fan cable. So that fan cable is now loose. Peel this gasket back. My fingers are getting just... So this oil has defeated the double-sided tape. It's just saturated the double-sided tape that they use in various places. And so I can see that it's come off of this rubber seal and it's coming off of the fan here. When I clean this fan, that double-sided tape is never going to survive. I think I need to switch my screwdriver from pentalobe to Torx, don't I? So this fan is caked in oil on the outside. I mean, the front edge, the bottom of it has oil, but the inside is fine. That's remarkable. I think I'm going to just spray my hands with alcohol between each of these. Well, that works really well, actually. The speaker connector has to come up and out of this socket. There. Microphone ribbon cable that just needs to be flipped up, so that's open, and now when this board comes out, that ribbon cable will be free. I need to disconnect the system board from the logic board. The camera cable is tucked in here for safekeeping away from the fan. Well, maybe I'll do that once the board is free. Now this board has to come up to the microphone cable, the speaker cable, kind of stuck to it, and now there's a webcam cable that's just tucked into here that I need to get out. So that's out. Now this should slide out. And it does. That looks all right. So next is the battery. There are 5 screws holding in the battery. I see the battery's cracked. Like, I can see damage here, damage here, damage here, damage here, damage here. So all of the battery screws have been over tightened, and this is broken as well. I don't know what's happened to this, but it wasn't me. So this battery should just lift out. But cooking oil has sort of adhered it. It's just got that, you know, good old cooking oil feel. Oh dear, look at that. Lovely. I need to clean this battery. I can't go on without, I can't just ignore that this battery is caked in oil. I'm going to bring this to the kitchen and spray it with isopropyl alcohol. Alright, I've got some 99.9% isopropyl alcohol. Hand sanitizer does not work on my hands because it just leaves them sticky. The oil in the sanitizer that they use to keep it suspended doesn't really help the situation with the cooking oil. Okay, so I've got some swabs, some alcohol. The battery actually cleaned up fairly nicely, but I missed a spot or a few spots. I'm just hoping nothing, that I don't do any damage. I mean, there's broken plastic on this battery from being over tightened in the past. I'm not happy about that. As I handle it, these broken bits of plastic are coming off. Oh, well, that answers the question about whether alcohol sets off a liquid detector or liquid indicator. It kind of looks like it might have been set off, doesn't it? Just touching these parts makes my fingers sticky, so I want to get that fixed. I want to make it so I can handle this thing without getting covered in oil. I feel much better about that now. Feels better. Okay. Might do the fan while I'm here, since that is sticking to the paper towel up here. I'm going to do these other parts as well. Okay, so I need to lift this little flap to pull up the handle to disconnect the video cable, which is caked in oil. The connector, I can see inside the connection, is also caked in oil. There we go. Okay, I believe I have everything disconnected from the system board. So here we go. So now these are bigger torques. Okay, so those antenna wires will come with the display. I'm going to take the speakers out because when I tip it up they might fall out. Just lightly kind of stuck with cooking oil. This one's completely out. Oh no, there's double-sided tape, but that double-sided tape has come off. There's that nice double-sided tape, which is no match for cooking oil, apparently. Oh, there's oil in the speakers. Okay, we're getting there. I need to get the trackpad out, but first I need to separate the display. So I left one screw in each of the hinges so that the next step will be possible. So I'm going to raise this camera up a bit. Very carefully open the hinge. So now I'll remove the remaining two screws. I need to hold all of this together so I don't drop it. Now, its bottom case should come loose from the top case. From the display assembly, I should say. I'm just going to open this. There we go. So as it opened up enough to let the hinge out of the gap there. So now I'll move this display assembly. Okay, so I need to salvage this little ribbon here, which is the microphone. How do you get that out of there safely? So the new, oh no, the new top case has the holes for the microphone, but they didn't give me a microphone. That's unfortunate. I've got pretty much everything else though. I've got the keyboard and backlight. And I just need to move the trackpad. Oh, this is going to be so nice when it's done. So let's have a closer look here. Well, interesting. I'm going to apply some heat to this. Not too much heat. I don't really want to melt anything or burn anything. It's already quite hot. Let's turn that down a little bit. That worked. So that was easier than I expected it was going to be. I'm tempted to stick this into the new one straight away. I did bend it. Oh man, that's sticky. Yeah, let's get it in there. I need to set this aside without contaminating everything. Oh, they're magnetic as well. Interesting. Okay. So I just need to get those little pads over the little holes. So there are little holes that these little pads, those little pads are the microphone transducers. And they need to be lined up with those little holes, roughly. I'm actually happy with that. Okay, on to the trackpad. Okay, so the new top case doesn't include the trackpad ribbon cable. Fortunately, the oil has destroyed all the adhesive holding that on, so that ribbon cable is coming with the trackpad with no arguments whatsoever. The keyboard connector. So this is the back of the keyboard. This is the backlight connector that powers the backlighting for the keyboard. This black is the backlight. If you peel that up, it tears. It's impossible to get it off in one piece. But beneath that is the keyboard, which is a plate that is screwed around the edges, but all through the middle, it's riveted in with plastic rivets. I call them rivets. Basically plastic bosses that go through holes and then they get melted down like a rivet. But this keyboard connector, so the keyboard is plugged in to the trackpad. There's a circuit board on the trackpad that then gets plugged into the system board. So this one connector here is used for all the data from the trackpad and the keyboard together. So I need to disconnect the keyboard from the trackpad. So the keyboard connector is just a ribbon cable, but it's folded over and plugged into the trackpad here. So it's got a zero insertion force. It's got a ZIF socket that I can just pry up and then pull the ribbon out. So did you catch that? That's the end of the ribbon cable, and it's folded over. It goes in that way, and there was a ZIF socket there. So now the only thing holding the trackpad in are those screws, so let me get those out. What? Phillips screws? Get out. Very small. Very, very small. I'm actually afraid to strip them because this screwdriver, the tips, are not the highest quality. One trackpad. Okay, so the old top case is out, off, removed. That's pretty bad. Now I just need to clean everything up, including my tools. Okay, I am going to I'm going to start reassembling this. I think I'll put down a bit of protection. There's a tiny bit of oil on the edge of that. I mean, now would be the time to give this a good clean, wouldn't it? It's pretty clean. So is that how that works? Yep. I'm going to wash the screws in alcohol before I put them back in, all of them. Like one component at a time so that I can keep them straight. I'm dropping the screws into here. I've got a bit of rubber that came off at one point. This is going to be a bit tedious. Okay, so I've lifted up that connector. Did I? Yeah. So you can see it's moving. And now this has to go in underneath. I believe it has. So it feels like it's in. I'm going to turn this sideways. Have a look. So the latch is down. I think the cable is in properly. Feels good. Okay, so there's a guide hole there. Now this microphone, I don't know if it goes over or under that. I think it goes under that. Okay, so that speaker is good. This speaker needs some new adhesive, some double-sided tape. Nothing too fancy. I think I shall use this stuff. 6mm. I'm going to put the lid on the display. Actually, this display needs a little bit of cleaning as well, so I'm going to do that right now. These cords, these connections, and underneath here, all stuff that would be impossible to clean once it's together, so let's just get this done while we have the opportunity. this. So it goes together like this. Right, while I hold it up like this, I'm going to put one screw in from each side. Gotta get it lined up though. That one is snug. And that one is snug. Okay. So I should be able to carefully close this. Those hinges are nice and easy. Yeah. So there's still oil on those screws that I just put in, which I think is okay actually. Put the other screws in. I might loosen the first ones just to make sure that everything is aligned properly. Now these hide one of the that little screw that was holding the end of the heat sink, or the heat exchanger, yeah, the end of the heat sink rail. I just want to get these screws started so that I can loosen this. Okay, that's the lid on. There is still oil on this board. Well, I'm putting it together and we'll see. And this just feels really tacky. Trying to get that backlight connector to slide in there. Looks like it's gone in. Maybe it's not far enough in though, I'm not sure. That's as far as it's going to go. All of this covered in oil. It's amazing, I thought I had all the oil off until I started touching these connectors. I don't know if this is going to work when I put it all together. We'll see. boots. Just want some music. Speakers. Check the microphone, camera. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Okay, so I've tested the battery. The computer comes on, the touchpad, the keyboard, the microphone, the speakers, the webcam, and the Wi-Fi, and the disk. Everything seems to be working. Amazing. Right. I am going to clean this up a little bit before phoning the customer and giving them the good news. I'm thrilled. I was dreading this job. I thought it was going to be... I mean, it wasn't very easy, and it did take me quite a while, but I was worried that it wouldn't work. I was worried I'd get it completely apart, clean everything, and then somehow cleaning would cause damage. And I'm still a little uneasy about the amount of oil that's still inside there. There's not a lot, but there's certainly going to be oil in the places that I couldn't reach. And I worry about that. Okay, that one's done. Thanks for watching.